Hi everyone, welcome to your proper project using Sheets and AppScripts. And I just want to state it out that this is not something that is vital for your interviews, but this is something that will differentiate you from all the other students who try to become analysts in the entire world. Okay, and it is projects like these, whether you do it through Sheets and later on when you do it through SQL, through Python, so on and so forth, then these are the projects, if you go in depth, then you'll actually have a good grasp over things. I don't need you to memorize the entire code and everything. Let's face it, we are living in the world of AI, and you're free to use ChatGPT and stuff for these things. Not a problem. But at least understand what we are trying to do. Okay. And finally, you are free to watch and rewatch this again. Try to do it along with me and try to do more than me. For example, I am creating an expense tracker. Turn it into a money manager. Add, I'm only doing expenses. You can also add income. You can add calculations, so on and so forth. All right. So with this mindset, let's understand this project. Okay, our functionality requirement is simple that whenever I click on this particular button, I want a prompt that asks me for different kind of expenses that I have made, and they will get logged one by one into these columns. Okay, and this is the analysis sheet, which will basically analyze things the way I want to or the way you want to in your project. Right now, if I click on it, nothing will happen. Run script, finish script. And why? Because in my AppScript window right now, it's pretty much blank. I clicked on the button, on button to log function was triggered because that's how I've set it up. If you do not know how to set this up, then please check the previous videos. And there is nothing inside this. So execution had started, execution had completed, nothing is there. But let us try to do a couple of things. First and foremost, I want to see if it is working properly. So I want a pop up to say a button has been clicked. Okay. So for this, we try to access the user interface or the UI of the spreadsheet app. And I do get UI. And after that, once I have the context of the UI, I can call the alert prompt and I can enter a message. You have clicked a button. All right. Sorry. Okay. Now, if I run this, sometimes when you run these codes, it might be correct, but it might still throw an error. It will not do right now because they do not know what the spreadsheet app is. But you don't need to worry about that. Always try to run it and once check it over here. Okay. Okay. You have clicked a button. It has come. Let's try to do it again. I click on this button. You have clicked a button. Perfect. So this particular part is working. I click on the button. This particular line gives the context of the UI, and this tells the UI to send an alert message. You have clicked a button. Perfect. But you know what? I might have multiple buttons, and different buttons will call different functions. Right. So I need a common function which generates this message. So let me do this thing alert message, and this entire thing I'll copy it over here. Make sure it's indented properly just to make it look proper, and then I'll call the other function from here. So I'll explain what is happening. When I click on the button, this function was called. Okay, but this function told it to first go to the alert message function, and it sent it over here to the alert message function. Then this started getting executed, and then we basically ask it to return back to the previous function. Okay, sorry, this one happens. So this returned it back to this function where there is nothing else. Here also you can set something back to original function. Okay, and this is a new function. So what will happen here is first button will come over here, then it will come over to here. This will send the control to this particular function. This new function message will be sent, and after that it will return back over here, and then we'll get a new alert back to original function. I hope this was clear. If it's not, please meet me in the class. I'll explain this a bit more in detail. Okay. So first new function was executed. After I click on OK, now it'll say back to original function, and that's it. Okay. Uh, all right. Hoping that this was clear, we'll move on. We don't actually need these right now. So I'll remove these. This was just a new concept I wanted to introduce to you guys. Okay. I also want to teach you guys one more thing, that it's not always necessary to trigger things using buttons. We can also create a menu item over here, right? Where there's file, edit, insert, extensions, help. Here also we can create a menu option. So let's try to do that. And I want this to happen automatically whenever the Google Sheet is opened. So for that, we target the method on open. All right. And after that, I do the same thing. I should have actually copied it. Get UI. And after that, I'll ask the UI to create a menu. So please create a menu UI. The menu can be called, let's say, expense uh, tracker project. And within this, we add item. What is the option that we want to create? Log expense. Okay. Then you enter which function is it supposed to call. You wanted to call this function. So exactly like a button does, we also wanted to do the same thing. And after that, dot add to UI. Okay. I'll just show what just happened. I have to refresh this window once, so bear with me. Alright, now if you see expense tracker project, a new menu item has been created. Alright, and what this does is the same thing as what this button does. So if I click over here and log expense, this will also trigger this exact function on button to log. And even our button over here, this also triggers the same function on button to log. Okay, so both of these are doing the same thing, but now we can also do it via menus. Okay, if that is clear, then we can start entering data into our actual project. And I think this is the simplest thing. Whenever this button is clicked or whenever this menu item is triggered, basically we want to add a row, right? So this is something very similar to what we had done previously, spreadsheet app. I hope you guys remember it. What is it after this? Get active spreadsheet dot get active. Oops, I have added method. So you guys do not have to remember all these things. It's okay if you do not remember, but you should just understand what we are doing and when we are doing it. Okay. So we are appending the row. We are adding the row. So sheet dot append row, and then we need to give the data. So we need to enter first of all today's date. So that can be new date, and after that we want to enter what is the next one? Category, description, amount, and payment. Okay. So category can be, let's say, for food. Okay, some description can be anything. Lunch. After that is the amount. Let's say it's $10, and after that we can say it was paid by a credit card. Okay, if you want to add it into quotes. All right. I think this pretty much does it. Yeah. Now let's run this. Let's come over here. So ideally, if I click on this, a new row should be entered with that exact data. It did come. Also, if I click on the menu item and I click on log expense, it should again enter the exact same data because the same function is being called. Yep, a new row was entered. The only thing that was different was time. Why? Because I'm calling that function new date, which generates the time right now. I hope this was clear. We'll take a pause over here, try to grasp this because a couple of things were new, especially the UI part and also the different handling different functions part. I hope that was clear. If not, watch the video again and I'll meet you in the class or in the next video, depending on how you've learned this. Okay, see you there.